presenter, Mr. Simon Burke, to pick out the most important fixtures for this weekend. Simon, a very good afternoon to you. Happy Friday.
Thank you very much. It's
Simon,
great to be here.
It looks like it's all rugby action this weekend. We're starting with the Boks against Australia and, of course, All Blacks versus Argentina.
Yes.
Let's look at those games in particular.
Right, well, it's third round of the Rugby Championship, and by all accounts, you speak to the experts, you speak to those in the know, this is the match that will, prove whether this South African team is on the right track or not. Because despite what we all think about Australia here in the Republic, they are a solid team, and they can get their act together when they want to. And we have seen that against the All Blacks, especially in the second round of the Rugby Championship, when they took them to within 6 points and at one point were leading them. So a very capable Australian team at home in Perth. But this is a new stadium for South Africa. They've never played an international at this particular stadium. So that's going to be interesting, because it's a 20,000-seater old school rugby venue.
My goodness.
It's not one of these modern fancy stadiums. It's got gaps between the grandstands. So we'll see what happens. And also, you've got to be very aware of what's happening in Western Australia at this moment. They lost their Super Rugby franchise and they're not happy about it. It's not like the South African teams who just went and found a new competition. The Western Force are literally dead in the water, and Western Australia is very unhappy about that. And there's going to be protests and there's going to be banners, and perhaps the Boks could use this to their advantage. While that sideshow is going on, they go in and they do the business, which is what we're hoping and which is what the Boks are capable of at this moment.
Absolutely. What do you think about the captains there? I mean, we know there was a big issue, a lot of people saying that Kolisi should actually be the captain. What do you think of this setup right now? Do you think this team is quite dynamic, Simon?
It is. It's a very dynamic side, and it's got plenty of facets to their game, and they've definitely shored up certain aspects that were lacking, and that's all going to count in our favour. And I'm talking about the scrums. The scrums are very much, putting us on the front foot. And from that basis, we can go and wreak havoc with our backline, and that's what we're doing. And then we have combinations in that backline. One of them, which comes back tomorrow, when Ross Crinier is going to link up with Elton Yankees. And so we're winning on every end. And then, of course, we have a dynamic back row with Siya Kolisi, Yaku Kriel and Uzak Kasim. So we really are, on a good wicket. And our captain as well is saying all the right things. I mean, yes, he's a hothead. Yes, he has a bit of a temper. Perhaps these Australians might, push the right buttons. The Argentines weren't able to Eben Etzebeth's credit, because those guys do try. The Australians, they might do. But Eben's saying all the right things, and he's basically said that first 20 minutes key for this match. Yes, it is key, but the Australians, they're good at taking a punch, weathering a storm, and then coming back. That's what we saw against New Zealand. And we're going to have to hope it doesn't happen against us.
Absolutely. Let's keep that good form and record going all the way. There's also the Pro 14 rugby. And of course, the Cheetahs and the Kings are both playing the Irish opposition.
They're playing Irish opposition. They're playing very strong sides. The Cheetahs are playing Munster. Munster, an amazingly good side. For years, they send a fair few British and Irish Lions on tour. So it's not a game that the Cheetahs can take lightly. Of course, I don't think they are going to. And then the Kings are playing Connaught, and Connaught's a young Irish team, probably the fourth best of the Irish sides, but the Kings also in for quite a day at the office. It's the second match for both of them in the Pro 14, and I think it has been a little bit of a culture shock, because they're trying to read these opponents, and they're not getting it right yet. So we'll have to see.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's have some bragging rights here when it comes to tennis. Now, we do know that, of course, Kevin Anderson, in 15 years, Simon, has made it all the way to the semi-finals of a major Grand Slam. Talk to us about that.
I think it's about 14 years, but yes, it's great. It's amazing. It's put tennis back on the back pages.
Absolutely.
I mean, the tennis fraternity here, they've needed something like this to just boost what they're doing, because they are trying to do a lot for the game in South Africa. And if you've got someone like Anderson, who's made a Grand Slam semi-final, first time in his career, and first time since Wayne Ferreira, then we definitely are on to something. And what's more encouraging is he's going to play the Spanish 12th seed Pablo Carreno Busta, and head-to-head they've played twice, and Anderson has beaten him both times. And most recently in 2017 at the Canadian Masters. So we don't want to jinx him, but we're
just going to pray.
Everything's looking very good at the moment. So that's happening tonight at 10 o'clock, and Anderson really has hit a run of form. I mean, the kind of game he plays, it's not a Federer game.
Is it going to affect his rank? Is he moving up in terms of world rankings?
It'll affect his ranking. It's definitely for the best. I mean, everything now is just gravy for him. I mean, this is really big for his career. But the way he's playing, it's a tough game for him to master, you know, his kind of game, because it's power. But from what we've seen in this US Open so far, he's been able to really get his game under control.
Absolutely, his serves have been so powerful too.
Yeah, and so against Sam Querrey, he was amazing. So long may that continue, and tonight, obviously, we'll see the next chapter.
We wish him all the best of luck, Kevin Anderson there. And of course, there's the football here in the country. First of all, Simon, let's talk about that ruling by FIFA that Bafana must replay that Senegal game. Before we talk about the Senegal, before we talk about the MTN 8 finals.
I mean, jeepers. I don't know what else can happen to Safa, and more importantly, Bafana. It just seems everything that can go wrong does go wrong. We see South American teams getting away with murder. We see Uruguay doing whatever they want on the field, and it never affects them.
Players that have been
South Africa, they didn't do anything this time around. They didn't do anything, and they still are at the mercy of FIFA. Now they want to appeal this, but I don't know where an appeal is going to go, because the inner workings of FIFA, although they've got rid of Blatter, are still a mystery to everybody. And I don't think they count in an African team's favor. Let's just put it politely. So, you know, it's a case of the Bafana players have to suck it up again. And they're going to have to replay this fixture. And going to have to see what happens. But, I mean, if you want character building in sport, then maybe, yes, turn off our national football team, because that certainly will give you a fair dose of having to deal with injustices and weird situations.
I thought they were introducing that assistant referee system, Simon, so I suppose that's a topic for another day. But
well, look, I mean, the referee's crooked. He was crooked and he's been banned for life. But I don't understand how that, affects South Africa and makes us have to all the blame.
Absolutely.
As I say, go and look at South America, what they do there. And FIFA never do anything. Look at France. France, they took a handball into the 2010 World Cup. Obvious handball.
Nothing was
wrong. No one did anything about it. But apparently they can find their muscle when it comes to the African game.
I guess luck is not on our side, hey? And we've also done so badly with the qualification stages for the World Cup in Russia. What about the MTN 8 first semi-final? Do you think Wits is going to defend their title? I know they're going to kill us, Simon. Just one comment there.
No, it's 4 teams, 4 dynamic teams, and football's the winner, South African football. So we'll have to see what happens. My money, if you want something, Cape Town City. But let's see what happens.
Cape Town City, we shall see. That is SABC senior sports reporter as well as presenter Mr. Simon Burke, giving us a roundup of all your sporting action that you can look forward to this weekend, and of course that has taken place this week. It's a wrap from me from now. I'll leave you with your weather update. Goodbye.